Hi everyone, my name is Maria Fernanda Valdospinos and I'll talk about Darwin's Origins of Species, a biography. Um, the first chapter is called Begins, and this will be the topic that we will talk about. The history of the origin of species. Charles Robert Darwin was born in Shrewsbury in February 1809. Darwin recalled his earliest days as a very happy ones, even though his mother died when he was 8 years. After his mother died, his three sisters took care of him. He loved to be with his friends, family, and he loved the countryside. He said that he had a happy marriage until the end of his life. Darwin's family. Erasmus Darwin was his grandfather. He was a poet, evolutionary thinking, and a physician. Um, Josiah Wedgwood was the other grandfather, and he was a famous poet. These two were a notable contribution this Industrial Revolution, and key members of the extraordinary intellectual flowering of the 18th century. This ensured that Darwin had a place in upper middle class society and the prospect of comfortable inheriting both, which served as very material factors in his later achievements. He was born, so to speak, into the financial security of Britain. Darwin's education. He studied at the Shrewsbury School, which was a private boys' school during the 1818 to 1825. He loved the class of chemistry. When he was a child, he wanted to become a doctor. He and his brother Erasmus set up a small laboratory at the home for performing experiments during the holidays. Um, After that, he went to Edinburgh Medical School in 1825 to study medicine. Um, Darwin made a very bad operation to a child, and this convinced him that he would never make a good doctor, and he left the medicine school in 1827. After university, he passed some years in Edinburgh, um, and this was the seeds of a later thinking. Um, After that, he took classes with Thomas Hobbes, which was a professor of chemistry. Robert Johnson, he was a professor of natural history, supported by a fine natural history museum, and Shell and Wirtz. Plinian Society. This was a small student society that began observing dove-bodied marine organisms from the North Sea. First discovery in science, ova of flustra, which was a sea mat, not eggs at all, but free-swimming larvae. Ova flustra is a kind of gelatinous sea mat that was announced at the Plinian Society on 27 March of 1827. Grant. Um, this was the Edinburgh Scientific Circles. He talked about mollusks, sponges, and polyps. Read Lamarck's system of invertebrate animals and learn lofty questions about origins and causes. This Edinburgh scientific circle encouraged him to expand his natural history interests. The Christ's College from Cambridge. He wanted to have an ordinary degree and started for taking holy orders at the Anglican Church. He became a vicar, entered and he entered the elite social and intellectual milieu. His family was not religious. He became a vicar and he was accepted, and this vicar profession was accepted for middle class boys. His friend was John Stephen Henslow, which he lived from 1797 through 1861. He was a professor of botany. Adam Sedgwick from 1785 through 1873. He was a professor of geology. William Wanwell, a scientific philosopher. Leonard Jennings, a naturalist person. And William Darwin Fox, he was training to become an Anglican clergyman. This William Darwin Fox was his best friend. Cambridge. Um, he was studying religious, political, and social ethos. Um, and he was proposed the Beagle Voyage. Um, he returned inspired of Humboldt's travels, natural history expeditions to Tenerife with Henslow, but it didn't happen. Adam Sedgwick to him, but Adam Sedgwick, which was another friend of him, took him to have an examination in Wales. And here is when he discovers the love of geology theorizing. The HMS Beagle. Henslow's offering a voyage around the world on a British survey ship. The objective of this trip was collecting natural history specimens. And he was expected to pay for his own way. But Dr. Darwin, which was the father of him, felt that his son should not accept this thing. Darwin wrote down this father objection, but some days later he was persuaded by Josiah Gedwood, which was his brother-in-law, and he accepted this mission. British Admiralty. Standing in early geographical survey of South American waters. This was during 1831 through October 1836, and the objective was measuring around the globe. They wanted to visit the Cape de Verde Island, the Falkland Island, many coastal locations in South America, including Rio de Janeiro, Buenos Aires, Tierra de Fuego, Valparaíso, Chiloé, Galapagos, Tahiti, New Zealand, Australia, and Tasmania, and some other ones. Darwin and Fitzroy. Fitzroy was the other guy that traveled with him in this ship around the world. They rowed together the Anglican missionaries on Tahiti. The Beagle, which was the ship that they traveled. In this Beagle, they armed to a political uprising in Tasmania. They attended to a very fine concert. Other important things that happened was the capsize of a Clavin glacier, the Conception earthquake, the complete discharge and Cordillera de los Andes, indignation about slavery in Brazil. His work. He made a collection of birds, vertebrates, invertebrates, marine organisms, insects, fossils, rock samples, for a collection of plants. These were regular shipped back to Henslow in Cambridge, who kept holding until his return. He made extensive observations on habitat, behavior, coloration, distribution, and sociology. creating a careful paper record that would form the basics of several books of articles after the voyage. The fossils. This was an extraordinary find that he made in Bahia Blanca in Buenos Aires, and he found three main fossils: Megatherium, Toxodon, and Glyptodont. Rhea was an unknown species he wanted for his collection, later named Rhea darwini in his honor. This is closely related species that do not generally inhabit the same area. Why there should be such connection? This was the wonder of Darwin. In Galapagos, he arrived in September 1835. Now, he didn't notice then the diversification of species on the Galapagos island. He was impressed greatly of the Eden. The most important things that they found in Galapagos was iguanas, giant tortoise, mockingbirds, boobies, arid volcanic and landscape, lynching festooned trees, and Tierra de Fuego was a deeply soaked rudimentary one. The most surprising thing that he found here was the people that habited there, because they had rudimentary movements, canoe going, and an ability to make fire. Um, Although this Tierra de Fuego later was called Magellan, and now we know that one as with that name.